Merab Dvalishvili versus Sugar Sean O'Malley Part 2 goes down this weekend. And I want to give you my breakdown and prediction for the rematch, but also we got the co-main event. Women's bantamweight title fight between the Venezuelan vixen Julianna Peña looking to defend her title, a second attempt to defend her title on her second reign versus Kayla Harrison. And then, of course, we got Kelvin Gastelum, Joe Pyfer, Mario Bautista welcoming Patchy Mix of the UFC, and Vincente Luque versus Kevin Holland. I want to give you my breakdown and prediction for all of these fights leading up to the main event. But look, man, these last few main card predictions, since UFC 313, I've been going 2-3 on these main cards. I've been not doing good lately, so let's hope with this weekend's main card, your boy DJC gets caught up to speed. But let's get it started with the Trailblazer versus the Silent Assassin. Listen, man, if this was Vincente Luque, any time before Jeff Neal gave him that brain bleed and became the first man to knock Luque out, I would very confidently pick Vincente Luque to beat Kevin Holland because I do believe he has the tools to get it done. He's very dangerous in that close range, inside the pocket. He's got nukes for fist. He's got killer leg kicks. He's a way better grappler than Kevin Holland. He's got the submission threat on Holland, the knockout threat, and he had that toughness. But he has not been the same ever since that fight with Jeff Neal. Ever since that fight, he's been playing it safe against RDA, which he won that fight by out-grappling him, but that's not Luque's style, right? And that's not his style to play it safe. And then against Joaquin Buckley, he was doing all right, but then he checked out of that fight. He sold. He quit. And yeah, he's coming off a win over Temba Garimbo, but Kevin Holland is way better than Temba Garimbo. Temba Garimbo was literally tailor-made for Luque to get back in the win column, but Vincente has not won more than a fight in a row since pre-Jeff Neal. It's been win one, lose the next, win one, and I do predict that pattern is going to continue this weekend against Kevin the Trailblazer Holland. Kevin Holland has the reach advantage. He's long, rangy, he's taller, he's got better footwork, he's faster, and he also has power. And Luque, he kind of wilts to damage now. He doesn't have that same level of grit that he had before getting knocked out by Jeff Neal. Like every time he takes a good shot, he kind of crumbles, he reacts differently. And Kevin Holland is going to land, and he is going to land hard. And Luque might not get chinned, but he might fight more timid. He might not be as aggressive. And I just don't know if he gets it done against Kevin Holland. So I'm going to pick Holland, and Holland probably gets the stoppage, if not a decision. I could just see either Kevin Holland piecing up Vincente Luque for 3 rounds, Luque not liking the damage, and even if Vincente tries to mix up the martial arts, tries to make it a wrestling match like he did against RDA, Kevin Holland at 170 has better takedown defense than he does at middleweight, and Luque is not that effective with offensive grappling. I mean, he did what he did to RDA, but RDA is small. Kevin Holland is big, 6'3", so I think it's going to come down to the striking. It's going to be a scrap, and I don't think Luque is built for scraps anymore. So Holland, I could see a decision or a potential TKO. I don't know if he subs Luque, probably not, because Luque has the jiu-jitsu advantage, but Holland will go for submissions if you shoot a sloppy takedown or if he hurts you. But I'm going to say Kevin Holland wins regardless of the outcome. I am rooting for Luque, but he's just not the same man anymore. All right, now moving up the card, Mario Bautista versus Patchy Mix. Patchy Mix doesn't even have his official UFC photo on UFC.com. Not till Wednesday, not till they, do the official photo shoots. They don't even have his official stats. Like, there's so much unknowns about this Patchy Mix guy. He's made a name for himself in Bellator, and he's had a pretty good career. I think he's 20-1. Hasn't lost a fight since 2020. Bautista hasn't lost a fight since 2021. Bautista's coming off a win over Jose Aldo. Patchy Mix is coming off a win over Magomedov. And honestly, Patchy doesn't really have a horrible resume. He's got wins over Sergio Pettis, former Bellator bantamweight champion. Win over Kyuji Horiguchi, that's another good win to have over his resume. And 2 wins over Magomedov. Bautista's coming off a win over a mentally checked out Jose Aldo. And we've seen it. It's proven. That win over Aldo has not aged well. And a lot of people don't even think Bautista won that fight. He mainly won that fight by hugging Aldo against the cage. And Aldo, his heart's just not in it. Patchy Mix is not Aldo. He's young, hungry, dangerous. He's a grappler first before he's a striker. But I do believe he could out-grapple Mario Bautista. Will he get a finish? It's hard to say because Mario Bautista, he is pretty tough. He doesn't get finished often. He only has 2 losses. 1 KO and 1 submission, actually. He's never lost a fight by decision. But we haven't seen him get subbed or KO'd often. So I'm going to go with Patchy Mix by decision. I could see him get tested. Maybe it won't be as easy of a fight as maybe some people are expecting. But I'm going to go with Mix. And I think he's going to shake things up in the men's bantamweight division. Most fighters who cross over from Bellator to the UFC, they usually do well. Or the PFL UFC crossovers, the ONE FC UFC crossovers. A lot of these long-awaited UFC debuts, minus Patricio Pitbull, usually go pretty well. And plus, Mix is not Pitbull making his UFC debut like a decade too late. Patchy Mix is young, 31 years old. He's coming at the right time. So I'm going to go with Mix to win. And then Kelvin Gastelum versus Joseph Pyfer. This one's interesting because I do think Kelvin Gastelum could win. And I do think Joe Pyfer is overrated, but Kelvin Gastelum is washed up. He's not committed to the fight game the way he used to be before his first ever title fight against Israel Adesanya. He's not been the same since the Izzy fight. He's been super inconsistent. He's just not at that level. And Joe Pyfer, he is very dangerous. And he's got the advantages in size, height, reach. He's very powerful. His grappling offensively is good as well. So is Kelvin's. But I could see Joe Pyfer winning this fight by out-wrestling Gastelum. I could see him winning a scrap on the feet against Kelvin, landing the bigger, better, more powerful shots. Gastelum's boxing isn't as sharp as it used to be. His defense on the feet isn't as good as it used to be. He doesn't slip and counter the way he used to. Like, when he fought Michael Bisping, the way he was able to pull on that shot of Bisping and counter him with that 1-2, that was clean. Gastelum can't do that anymore. So, I'm going to go with Pyfer. I'm going to say he wins by decision. A lot of people are saying Pyfer is going to be the first man to knock out Gastelum, which could happen. He did knock out Marc-Andre Barriou, who's known to be very durable. Gastelum has been dropped before. Cannonier dropped him. Adesanya dropped him. That one guy that got submitted by Damian Maia, I forgot his name. Rick Story. Rick Story also dropped Kelvin Gastelum. So it is very possible. But Gastelum is still very tough. Even when he gets hurt, he does have a knack for recovering. So I do think Kelvin will survive. This might be a scrap. It might be a war for 3 rounds. But I think Pyfer, just being fresher in his career, might have the advantage and get the better end of it. So I'm going to go Pyfer decision. And then the co-main event, Julianna, the Venezuelan vixen Peña, versus Kayla Harrison. I feel bad for Julianna Peña, man. It's like every time she wins the belt, she always has that one opponent she has to face in her first defense, where the matchup is virtually unwinnable. It's a high difficulty matchup. She wins the belt the first time against Nunes, and her first defense is a focused Amanda Nunes who's not playing this time, and Amanda Nunes destroyed her in the rematch. And you'd think with Nunes being gone and Peña getting the belt back from Raquel, a safer matchup, that Peña could actually be a defending champion. But nope, now Kayla Harrison is in the picture. Now she's in the UFC, and I struggle to see how Julianna Peña wins this fight. Look, I am a ride or die Julianna Peña fan. I'm rooting for her to win this fight, but I just think Kayla Harrison stylistically is a nightmare matchup for Julianna Peña. It's a grappler versus grappler matchup where Kayla Harrison is the better grappler. She's got the physicality advantage. She's much stronger than Julianna Peña. Her takedowns are really strong. Her top control is really good. Her ground and pound is ferocious. She's got threatening subs. She's a master judoka. I think Peña's only advantage in this fight is cardio. She's used to cutting weight to 135, so the weight cut's not going to be as hard. She's durable, and I do think that she's a better striker. And look, I do think Peña has made some improvements to her game. Since that second Nunes fight, there was a bit of a 2-year gap between Nunes 2 and the Raquel fight. She's a lot more patient on the feet now. She's not as reckless, doesn't rely on her chin, her durability, her toughness like she used to. She doesn't just wade forward in the fire, because she learned her lesson from that second Nunes fight where she got countered and dropped. She waits a bit more. She's much better at weaponizing counters. And her jab is one of her best tools on the feet. And overall, I do think her boxing has slightly improved. We kind of saw this against Raquel Pennington. She went 5 rounds with the striker in Raquel, who on paper has the boxing advantage, and Julianna won. It was close, it was contested, and she mainly won based off her dominant rounds, which she got those takedowns and control in rounds 2 and 3. But round 1 was close on the feet. 2 judges edged it to Julianna Peña, and she only lost the final 2 rounds from coasting, getting a little bit complacent. But I don't think her improvements are going to mean much in this fight. We've not seen Julianna Peña's defensive wrestling get tested since the Amanda Nunes rematch. And she has literally 23% takedown defense, man. That's not good. 23%. That's weak. Nunes took her down almost whenever she wanted. She got out wrestled by Sarah McMahon until McMahon gassed out. Kat Zingano was out wrestling her until she gassed out. Valentina, I think, went 2 for 2 on takedown attempts. So usually, whenever she goes up against a competent grappler who wants to take her down, they do take her down. And I don't think she's going to be able to defend Kayla Harrison's takedowns. Every opponent Kayla Harrison fights, she's fought better grapplers who have better takedown defense, and they could not neutralize her style. I think Ketlin Vieira is stronger when it comes to takedown defense than Peña. Wasn't able to consistently shut down the takedowns of Kayla. Larissa Pacheco, yes, did beat Kayla, but it took 3 attempts, and she mainly won that 3rd fight, not through being able to shut down Kayla's style, but through attrition and Kayla just gassing out. Holly Holm has very good takedown defense. Nobody mauls Holm on the ground like that, and Kayla did. I don't think it's going to be any different with Julianna Peña. I think Peña's only chance is if Kayla has the worst cut of her life, which is possible, because Harrison has never made 135. She's never made it on the dot. So she could come in compromised, and that could be an advantage for Peña. But I'm just going to assume that Kayla, even with a rough weight cut, she's going to be fine. She's going to rehydrate. She's going to be way bigger than Peña on fight night. She's going to be way stronger than Julianna Peña on fight night. And I think that she's just going to ragdoll Julianna Peña. I could see a submission where maybe she out-grapples Peña for a couple of rounds, then maybe gets a rear naked choke in the third round, because Peña does get her back taken in scrambles. In these kind of grappling matches, Nunes was able to get her back, McMahon was able to get her back. I think that Kayla could definitely capitalize on those positions. If not, maybe Peña at worst could survive the first 3 rounds and then maybe rally in like the final 2 but not be able to get a finish and it being too late, and maybe Kayla Harrison wins a decision 48-47. But even if Kayla gets tired, I don't think she's going to be too tired to win this fight by decision. I think even a gassed Kayla can wet blanket Julianna Peña. So I think Kayla's going to have a dominant performance, and I think we're going to see a new champ, and I think Julianna, unfortunately, loses her first defense again, and she'll be known as that woman who was never able to defend her title, which sucks because I love Peña. I am rooting for her all the way. I am rooting for her. And I think the only way she wins, I mentioned the cardio and Kayla maybe gassing. She has to win the 3rd round and the 4th and the 5th. She cannot afford to give up 3 rounds in this fight. But I don't really see a finish. I don't see her knocking Kayla out on the feet. Because even though Peña does have pop to her punches, she's not a KO artist. It's women's MMA, and knockouts don't usually come often in women's MMA. Peña doesn't really knock people out. Her TKOs come from taking girls down and ground and pounding them. She's not doing that to Kayla, and I doubt she submits her. Maybe she could win a decision, but I think Kayla wins and new, and then we're gonna get the super fight between Kayla Harrison and Amanda Nunes. But if Julianna could win, this will be one of the biggest upsets of her career since Nunes, and this would really cement her legacy. But I don't think that's going to happen. Now, the main event, wrong screen. Sugar Sean O'Malley versus Merab, the Machine Dvalishvili Part 2. The rematch that nobody asked for, but this is what we're getting. I picked Sean O'Malley the first time they fought. I was kind of flip-flopping going into the first fight. I initially had Merab, then I had Sean as my last-minute pick. But I learned my lesson from the last fight. I'm going with Merab. That's been my concrete pick since this fight got announced. Now look, there's a narrative going into this rematch, especially from the camp of Sean, that he was injured in the first fight. He had a torn labrum. And, he was affected by the visuals in the sphere and yada, yada, yada. And that's why he underperformed. And his torn shoulder is why he couldn't prepare for the wrestling of Merab. And that's why he got out-wrestled as easily as he did. And you know what? Maybe it's possible those excuses are true. Maybe. And maybe Sean does show up healthier. And Sean is coming in this fight more focused, a renewed, refreshed mindset. He is humbled. And maybe he does better, but I just don't trust O'Malley being the one to stop the machine Merab Dvalishvili. Because O'Malley, yes, he can knock Merab out. He is a sniper. He is the superior striker. But if your only chance to win is by a finish, and you need a finish to beat someone, a grinder like Merab, I rather go with the grinder as opposed to the sniper. And Merab Dvalishvili, he may not be a finisher, but he doesn't need to finish his fights. And they don't call him the machine for nothing. I mean, this guy, his style is hell to deal with. He's got a grueling pace, high volume, solid wrestling, extremely tough, and Merab has made a lot of improvements in his game as well that really shine in the O'Malley first fight and the Umar fight. Because pre-O'Malley 1, Merab used to be very sloppy. He used to brawl his way in the clinch. He used to just walk forward and just scrap his way into getting a hold of you and getting you down. And that's actually why I thought Sean would win, because I thought, okay, Merab, if he's going to be sloppy, if he's going to press forward like that the way I think he will, then O'Malley's going to use his footwork to his advantage. He's going to pivot, he's going to cut angles, and he's going to time Merab being sloppy and chin him. But Merab showed me something different. He used a lot of side to side bouncy footwork, which was very effective. O'Malley was not able to time him, and then through that, Merab was actually able to time his takedowns. His entries weren't sloppy like they normally were. And we saw the same thing against Umar. And against Umar, he showed how much his striking has improved. Whereas since this first fight, we've not seen Sugar Sean O'Malley. He's not fought in 9 months. He does not deserve this rematch. And I just don't see how he wins other than a knockout. But Merab is very, very hard to finish. We know Merab Dvalishvili has better cardio. We know he has better wrestling. And I think if Umar Nurmagomedov couldn't do it, I don't think Sean can do it. I think this fight is going to be a continuation of the first fight where maybe O'Malley has more success. Maybe it's a little bit closer this time. Maybe O'Malley does actually land some good shots. Maybe he does hurt Merab a few times. And actually, I could maybe see O'Malley dropping Merab. Merab does get hurt in fights, like against Henry, like against Moraes, but he's very good at slipping through the cracks, recovering. And I just don't know if O'Malley, even if he hurts him, if he's going to be able to get Merab out of there. Merab has very good recovery. And then once he recovers, he's back in the fight. He's back on your hips, working those takedowns. And I think it's going to be another Merab decision. But I am rooting for Sean O'Malley like I'm rooting for Peña. But I cannot be biased. I think we're going to see a repeat of UFC 306. This is going to be some DJC PTSD, where I watched one of my women's MMA favorites lose in the co-main in a title fight in dominant fashion, followed by O'Malley losing to Merab Dvalishvili. But hey, if O'Malley could win this fight, that'd be a huge upset. Same way if Peña could win this fight, it would be a huge upset. But both outcomes happening on the same night, it's just too good to be true. It's just too good to be true, but we'll see. I mean, that's what makes this sport fun. Anything can happen. Last time Peña was counted out, she pulled off the unthinkable against Nunes. Last time O'Malley was counted out, he pulled off the unthinkable against Aljo. But Merab is not Aljo. He's better than Aljo. So I think we're going to hear and still. But that's it for my breakdown and predictions for the main card of UFC 316. Let me know your picks in the comment section down below. Hit that subscribe button and peace out.